You can't just swing faster. You have to train for it.
Every player is looking for an edge, the thing that can take their game to the next level.
If you look at all the time they put into improving their baseball skills, this is a direct, tangible way to improve your batting performance.
Dr. Sasho Mackenzie is known as the Savant of Speed. He spent his career decoding the science behind the world's best and fastest swings. The stack system is his solution to help players unlock their full potential. In this episode, Sasho joins Aman Loomba, GameChanger's SVP of Product, and Alex Trezza, Senior Manager of Baseball. They explore questions about the science of speed. How does overload and overspeed training work? Why does bat speed and exit velocity matter at every level? And what could this technology mean for the future of baseball? This is Athletic Intelligence from GameChanger, a show where we go deep inside the world of baseball and softball, uncovering the tech that's shaping the game. Sasho is a biomechanist who built his career helping golfers on the PGA Tour unlock more power in their swings. But lately, his work has crossed over into new territory, the world of baseball and softball, even collaborating with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So how did a golf scientist find himself shaping the future of bat speed?
I've got an extensive background in track field. I was a coach for 10 years at university. I competed at university myself. Track is an amazing sport to look at in terms of applied science. There's not much strategy. It's basically run fast. Okay, so through trial and error and lots of good scientific research, we have a pretty solid understanding on things you need to do to run faster, things you need to do to jump higher and throw further. Science is pretty solid, and it's improving at a pretty good rate as well. Some other sports like golf, a little more traditional, other than just swinging faster, there's lots of other ways you can do to improve performance. So maybe there's historically less of a awesome science that's been done. So if I was looking at how important clubhead speed was in golf, and the fact that most tour players, when they got on tour, even if they were in their early 20s, never really improved their clubhead speed, that's strange for something that is this important. You would never see a sprinter bust onto the scene when they're 18 and stay the same speed as, throughout their 20s. The whole point is to get faster because that's exactly what the activity is demanding. But golf, swinging faster is important. So I started taking some of the principles from track and field and applying them to golf in terms of overload and overspeed training, and had great success. But, I'm a sports biomechanist. I want to optimize all sports. I'm not just locked in on golf. A few MLB teams reached out to me like, okay, if you can make a golfer swing faster, same biomechanical principles. We're swinging a stick. Maybe you have some insights into baseball players. And so started doing consulting with MLB players. And some of those MLB coaches that had reached out to me were using the golf system, right? And they had gotten a lot of faster, in their golf game. Like, what? Why don't we have this for baseball? And it's really only in the last 3 or 4 years, there's, we're kind of in the elbow, the hockey stick part of the curve where people are starting to realize how important exit velocity is to baseball. And if you want more exit velocity, you need to swing the bat faster, right? Lots of people have known this for decades, but it really has taken a little while to really catch on. And so basically applying those same principles that have worked really well in golf into baseball.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because growing up a player, playing a long time, then coaching, and now being at GameChanger, where obviously we're involved in diamond sports. Kids and myself growing up, we always talked about swing the bat faster, or having better swing speed, but I'm not sure we knew how to do those things. So, how are athletes responding to that now? Like, do they understand that swinging it heavier or swinging it lighter is the thing that works for me to have that swing speed go up? And are they seeing like immediate results, or is it something that takes a little bit of time?
Baseball, in some respects, with training is where golf was at 15 years ago. The statistics in baseball that say, hey, let me find a player that has this stat, that means that they're a more valuable player, they're very solid now. But what's less solid, and especially as you trickle down from the MLB, is, okay, what does a player need to do to get those stats? Right? We know we want a player with those stats. How do they train to get those stats? And so it's a slower trickle down process, but the top MLB teams and the more inquisitive players that are and coaches are on the side of innovation are like, yeah, this is This is obviously the easiest way to go about gaining bat speed. You don't have a lot of time. You have other skills that you have to practice in baseball. So, if you can dedicate 45 minutes, a week, 20-minute sessions, something like that, that's enough to see some gains. What I say is give it at least 6 weeks. Our programs are 18 sessions long. The first one that you do, 18 to 24 sessions. You do a session 2 to 3 times a week. 2 is plenty. And you will see quicker gains if you see positive changes in your swing mechanics. So we've got a sensor in the bat, Bluetooth the speed to your phone or some kind of iOS device. And what a lot of players will realize is getting that immediate feedback loop. You swing, you see the speed 65. Okay, maybe I'm going to try to do something a little different with my Leo. Maybe you have some swing tips from your batting coach. Great. You try a different feeling. Whoa, look at that. The speed just went up, right? So you can have some kind of organic changes to your mechanics that happen naturally. Those speed changes can happen very quickly just through a feedback loop of seeing the swing speed and doing different things. Changing of the physiology, how fast your muscles are contracting, how fast signals are going from your brain, those things are going to take a little bit more time, those adaptations. So there's different ways that doing this training can increase your speed. Those ways take different varying amounts of time.
Your approach to this comes from a background in biomechanics.
Yeah, it certainly starts from a biomechanics perspective. I think that, even if you're going to look at changing physiology, like strength exercises or plyometrics or whatever, you have to understand the biomechanics of the movement. The stimulus that's going to lead to an adaptation is determined by the biomechanics of the movement.
Tell us more about what biomechanics is and what it means. How does thinking about things using a biomechanical framework differ, or how does it evolve from sort of the traditional ways people think about their swing?
Biomechanics is really physics, Newton's laws, F equals ma, but applying it specifically to the body. So if I want to have someone swing a bat faster, then I need to understand what are the muscles doing to swing a bat. So you're swinging the bat right now at 80 miles per hour. What are the constraints on the system? What does the system need to do? Okay, well, the muscles need to contract at this speed. The muscles need to apply or generate force in such a way that the hands apply forces and torques to the bat. If I know those stimuli, then I can set up training that allows someone to just experience a little bit more of that.
Sasho's team has developed the stack system, first created for golf and now adapted for baseball. The tool uses a set of interchangeable weights that can be added or removed to create those different training loads. The stack system alternates between overload and overspeed training. In simple terms, sometimes the bat is heavier, building strength. Other times it's lighter, teaching your body to move faster. Together, those two forces, power and speed, raise the ceiling on how fast a player can swing and how hard they can hit the ball.
We've got 30 different options for loads, 5 weights that can be interchanged to get 30 different combinations. And that allows us to adjust both the load stimulus, what are the forces and torques you're experiencing, as well as the speed stimulus. And then even to go a little bit deeper, if we look at both overload and overspeed training separately, they act on different mechanisms in the body. If we take a look at someone's, say, force velocity profile when they're swinging a baseball bat, we know how fast they're swinging their current gamer bat. We know how fast they swing things a little bit heavier and how fast they swing things a little bit lighter. That gives us kind of a slope, their speed sensitivity. Some folks need a little bit more focus on overload training. Some folks need a little more focus on overspeed training. And so that puts you into a slightly different philosophy of training program that we can still customize within once you're in that program.
That's interesting. So I heard you say folks have a different sensitivity in response to these things, and that's because of our different inherent sort of physiologies. And depending on their level of sensitivity, where they fall on that curve, the recommendations for them to actually improve that speed will be different.
Exactly. It could be your physiology. It could be, the speed with which you contract muscle. It could also be your swing mechanics.
Right.
So the particular coordination pattern you're using to swing a baseball bat might be different than somebody else's. So that enables you to swing a really heavy bat still pretty fast. The 3 things determine how fast we swing something. The 3 properties of an object. It's mass, its moment of inertia, and where the center of mass of that object is relative to your hands. If you increase any of those three properties and keep the other two equal, then you're going to swing it slower, right? That's true for everybody. But how much slower we swing it for that increase is specific to the individual. So some individuals might need more based on that, what I call a force velocity or load velocity profile. Some individuals will need to experience more overload training. Some individuals will need to experience more overspeed training to push the speed that they're swinging their gamer bat, that particular set of inertial conditions, faster.
Each player has their own sweet spot. Make a bat heavier and everyone slows down. But how much they slow down is unique. The stack system reads that response and fine-tunes each workout to push players in the right direction.
We know baseball players are superstitious and a lot of old school players that maybe don't want to use tech. What's been the response like overall? You're running into some roadblocks with that, or people are like, hey, I want to try this because this is a simple but effective method. It's not like this crazy thing I got to wear or anything like that.
The tech is all behind the scenes. You can do the whole workout and all you're seeing or interacting with is a speed popping up and a timer. So you're just swinging and, it'll say, hey, rest for 10 seconds, take another swing. An image will pop up telling you when to change the weights. But it feels very low tech. You're not trying to interpret data. You're not bogged down trying to figure out what to do next. The app's like, hey, load these three weights on, swing, timer pops up, swing, timer pops up. Then you get a set rest, 3 minutes long, where you change the weights. 15 minutes later, you're done. If you set new records, it cheers for you. So there's no downside to that in the tech. We keep track of your records with every weight as you're swinging. It's pretty motivational. So, it's as techy as going into the gym and lifting weights and, having a watch to know, hey, how long should I rest between my reps and sets? You're lifting weights in the gym, you have to change weights. You're taking weights on and off the squat rack. You might as well be putting them on and on, off and on the stack bat. So it's quite low tech, and we make all the decisions for you. We're like, hey, tell you when to work out. Come on back in 2 days. We'll tell you what program to do. We tell you what weights to put on. It's cool that the tech isn't in your face. It's behind the scenes.
So there is a lot of complexity there in deciding, what of those suggestions to make, but you're saying it's all behind the scenes. The player doesn't have to think about it too much. Your algorithms help them know exactly what next move to make.
Right. It's completely boxed in. There's no decisions that need to be made on the part of the user. It's like you just need to show up, and it's like having a trainer be like, all right. And we have a warm-up built into the app, so it's like the trainer being like, all right, come on in. Mom, we're going to have you do a warm-up, do these exercises. Great. All right. You can certify your warm-up by taking a few swings with the bat so we know if you're warmed up or not. The app will tell you, hey, you're warmed up. Great. Way you go. We have you swing a gamer bat equivalent load on the stack bat every session. So if we know your current gamer weight, then you swing that every session. All the other weights will change, but based on how fast you're swinging that one particular weight, let's say it's 260 grams for your gamer bat, you'll swing 260 gram condition every session. We'll base how fast you're swinging the other weights relative to that one and how fast you're swinging that one. That will change the makeup of your next workout. The app is constantly looking at what you're doing and adjusting the programming dynamically for you. So we're always in that sweet spot to get just the right stimulus.
You mentioned that the training program has the player take swings with the equivalent weight of their gamer bat. Would the system also potentially recommend changes to what kind of bat you use to change, its center of mass or its overall weight?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've got some thoughts around bat fitting. My thought is you want to, in general, the bat that's best for you over the course of a number of at-bats, you will maximize your exit velocity, right? And kind of in there is packed in there, even though it seems like a certain thing. Well, maximize your exit velocity. What about, launch angle? What about spin? What about I want to make contact more often. I just don't want the odd home run. Well, if you've maximized your average exit velocity, that means you've made contact a lot, right? Because your exit velocity, if you, whiff 3 times is 0. Those numbers are going to bring down your average exit velocity. And also, if a bat that's recommended that's too heavy, your swing time is so long. That's going to probably lead to more mishits, miscontacts, strikeouts. So if the overall objective is to maximize exit velocity, and then we can work backwards from there, well, that means that we want to maximize bat speed at the spot where you want to hit the ball, the sweet spot in the bat, right? And we want to minimize swing time. So it's not just about, great, give me this 34.5-inch bat, weighs a ton, and I take a half a second to swing it, but look at how fast the speed is. No good. So with the sensor in our bat, we know not just how fast you're swinging, but how long the swing took. So when you're swinging all these weights during your session, like over the course of a program, you probably will swing out of the 30 different weights, you'll probably swing 15 of them. So we have this really nice force velocity profile. So that allows us to optimize for, okay, what is the bat that you're going to be able to swing with the best combination of swing speed and swing time to maximize exit velocity? Because, when it gets complicated, we can do those computations in the background. A longer bat, like a 34-inch bat, you want to hit it further down the barrel than a 30-inch bat, right? So in the algorithms, we can account for that, right? If we're going to a 34-inch bat, the sweet spot's going to be further down. That means we're going to have more speed of the bat for a given angular velocity. Also, a heavier bat is going to have more moment of inertia. It's going to have a higher collision efficiency. So these are, all things that need to be kind of worked in. So we can certainly try to maximize for exit velocity based on that data to, get a pretty good idea of the best bat for you.
While the stack system itself doesn't choose a bat for you, the data it provides makes a strong case for better bat fitting. Small changes in weight, length, or balance can have a big impact on swing time and exit velocity. And understanding those trade-offs can help players get more out of every hit.
Can you say more about how players manage possible trade-offs or just the other complexities of the swing beyond bat speed? You mentioned that some folks are looking to just make contact more versus hit the ball harder, farther. Do you have to balance or trade away certain things as you improve your swing speed?
I don't think so. I think you can work on them simultaneously. So, if you, across a whole lot of contacts, you want to have an upward, motion of the bat when you make contact with the ball, right? That's about the only thing that you can really control. So if overall your average swing pattern is such that the bat is moving on an upward angle, then for a range of contacts around the bat, which we have very little control over, right? You can't. Making contact's great. Sometimes the ball is going to come out with topspin, sometimes backspin. Very different than golf, right? Where we know it's always going to come out with backspin. But why not, while you're doing your speed training, work on those positive swing mechanics? So it's real easy to say, right, maybe you've got some ideas yourself. Maybe you film yourself and you're like, okay, I want to make sure that I have the bat moving on a certain swing plane. When I'm doing my speed training, I'm going to make sure I'm doing that. So you can reinforce positive things. You can also make sure that you're not taking forever to swing the bat. So I think it's really important to imagine before you make your swing, all right, I'm visualizing the pitcher, watching the pitch come in, and then you're getting that swing off as quickly as you possibly can with a certain swing plane, but also at the same time trying to maximize for bat speed.
Of course, not every player is chasing a major league fastball. The stack system also provides a youth model, built from the same principles but scaled for younger players.
The youth bat designed completely different from the pro because it needs to also accommodate everybody from someone who's swinging in T-ball all the way up to that player that's, on an elite travel team. So the design is very specific to baseball and very specific between the pro and the youth model of our bat as well. We want to really make sure we're hitting that stimulus versus, hey, here's a heavier bat. Just go swing this one, right? We have really 60, if you take both the youth and the pro model and all the weight combinations, we have 60 different ways we can adjust the stimulus for baseball players.
If you notice when you're using the product, right, that that was a faster swing, does that automatically equal better mechanics? And if it does those mechanics 100% make you a better hitter? And I'm not talking about all the intangibles, but like the correlation between swing speed and like really good hitters, is it there? And is swinging faster make better mechanics, which will ultimately make you a better hitter?
Well, yeah, 100%, all else equal, I want to swing the bat faster. Okay, so here's the best way to think of it. The objective of the stack system is to make you have a higher potential to swing faster. Let me give you an example. Trez, you've got your current comfortable in-game swing that you make. And let's say that's generating a bat speed of 80 miles per hour. It takes you a certain amount of time to make that swing. Maybe you're swinging at 95% effort level. Let's go do some stack training. What's the objective? Well, let's say your in-game is at 80, but your max is at 85. Well, I want to take that 85 and make it 95. You can still swing exactly the same way you're swinging now in the game. You can swing at 80, but think about how much easier it's going to be. You're going to be able to swing at 80 in a much shorter period of time. You're going to be able to adjust the pitches much more easily. If your capacity to swing the bat goes from 85 to 95, you can do exactly what you're doing. It's just going to be a lot easier. We're training to improve our max capacity, so even what we currently do is easier, and we can do it with more precision and control.
Yeah, that's great. Are guys using this on deck at all before they actually hit in a game at all? Like maybe they like it heavier, maybe they like to feel it lighter. Like, we've done it all, like fill bats with sand, do whatever it may be. But are people using it?
Not to my knowledge, but they probably should be. And we've got a protocol in there called speed priming that's exactly designed to boost your, over the next, half hour, 2 hour, boost your bat speed, right? It's like amps up your nervous system. There's a concept called post-activation potentiation. It comes from some simpler studies that are like, hey, if you're trying to max your vertical jump, right now I want to jump as high as I can, let's go do some heavy squats. And then I'll come over and then I'll be able to jump higher. So we kind of prime the neuromuscular system to swing faster. The other thing that's great, why it would work really good in an on-deck circle or whatever, is because you can precisely load the bat to get exactly what you want, right? If you're going in to hit a ball, there's about actually, is it swinging faster, but you also want the confidence. You want to feel when you pick up your gamer bat in your hands, you're like, yeah, I feel like I own this. I'm in complete control.
You won't see players using the stack bat in the on-deck circle, at least not yet, but teams have started testing it in practice. Some are even connecting the dots between training swings and in-game results, using increased exit velocity as proof that the gains are real.
What some of these MLB clubs have done has tied it to in-game exit velocities, which is awesome. So we actually, we can see that the training's helping. I can see that in the app. You're swinging our product faster, and those teams have doubled down and ordered more.
When you think about it at scale, those gains add up fast. If one player's added bat speed can boost their exit velocity, what happens when an entire lineup makes that jump?
Let's say your bat speed goes from an average of 73 and it goes up to 75. You can literally go through knowing impact dynamics and go, hey, I would have got on base 30 more times. I would have had 6 more homers. I would have, you can literally go, everything stays the same. The bat moves faster. This is what happens. That's impactful for one player. You go through the lineup and all of a sudden you go, we would have won 9 more games if everybody just got 1 mile per hour faster bat speed. 9 more games, that puts us in the playoffs. It's pretty easy just to do. And applying that same logic that I said to you, Trez, where it's like, look, you just feel like you're swinging the exact same way. You honestly don't know you're doing anything different. Your swing time has gone down, your bat speed has gone up, but you feel like you're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. And when you were saying, like, when you can look at those numbers and say over the course of the season, your batting average would have went up, you have more homers. I think back to like Bull Durham and Crash Davis saying, if one more flare, a week for the whole season, and I'm hitting 300. So it's a better, more technological way to come up with, this is what I would have done if I was a better player in that sense.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
This is great stuff. How do you see this trickling down to like youth leagues and kind of usage? You talked about like whole organizations using it, but is this something you see that can really take hold at the youth level and maybe travel ball teams, high school using it across maybe their whole organization or something like that?
Any serious travel ball kid should be training for bat speed. If you look at all the time they put into improving their baseball skills, this is a direct tangible way to improve your batting performance. And it's boxed in. You don't need to think. It doesn't take much time. So to me, it's just, I look at all of the junior golfers that have adopted this, all the best golfers, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of the rate of adoption. But the best players are going to start doing it. It's especially in youth baseball, you look at your best hitters, it's even more clear, right? That is just higher exit velocity is what you need. You need more bat speed. And there's a lot of, you can train around ways to get faster with bat speed. I'm not saying that they're bad, but let's go do some squats. Let's go in the weight room. All that stuff's good. But if you only have 45 minutes a week to dedicate to improving your bat speed, this is it, And even MLB guys are clearly seeing this.
As we heard Sasho say, the same principles that help pros at a few miles per hour can also help young players build a foundation for speed and power early on. But with youth athletes, as Aman points out, there's another layer to consider.
At the youth level, you're still growing and your body's changing. The biomechanics are going to change because your physiology is changing. Does the program have some way to account for that? Or how does that factor into the way you think about training for something like swing speed?
Yeah, it accounts for it because it adapts with you. So as you are able to swing heavier weights faster, the program changes. So it accelerates that curve. Probably the best theory on youth development for improving sports performance is called long-term athlete development. You're familiar with LATD? Kind of started in Australia. It's championing a lot in Canada, but it's looking at, okay, we want a kid to be as fast as they can be, as strong as they can be, most endurance, flexibility, be the best athlete they can be when they're done growing. So by the time they're 18 or 19 or 20. What should we do? Are there certain times in their development where we should focus on speed, where we should focus on strength, flexibility, and endurance? And so you look at, heaps of data. This is a well-rounded, well-researched theory. There are critical phases in a kid's development where if you don't do things as fast as you can, you miss out on that window of opportunity, and now your ceiling is lowered as an adult. So if you miss those, and the first one is actually around 7 to 8. So if you're like a kid's running to first base, you're like, well, just run at 90%, and they never go full out, or they never swing something or try to throw something as far as they can, they've missed that developmental timing in their youth, and then their ceiling's going to be lowered. And then they hit another one. And it's not just age, it's more to do with maturational age. So not all, 9-year-olds are, maturationally the same age, right? So safest thing to do is just make sure you're hitting those windows. Do some speed training. So there's 2 windows that you want to hit. It's not a worry if you're doing it. It's a worry if you're not doing it because you're going to miss that window. Some people talk about injury risk. Is, doing the stack system, is that going to lead to more injury, especially among youth? And I don't need to get into the specific details of the biomechanics of injury risk. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but it's less about the peak stimulus and more about overload. The kids can get injured if they just do too much, but the volume with stack is very low. So you taking 25 swings extra twice a week, that's not going to really make a large difference. In fact, if you think it is, then maybe pull back some of the other training. But in terms of, well, you shouldn't swing something that fast. Could you imagine telling, some 4-year-old kid with a plastic baseball bat? You ever see some of those where they swing at 100 miles an hour? No one says, whoa, Billy, don't swing that plastic bat so fast. You're going to tear your labrum, right? Kids swing plastic clubs and throw plastic balls, breakneck speed, right? So the peak stimulus really isn't the issue. Kids jump off monkey bars, land, right? If an adult did that, they'd tear their ACL, right? So those peak forces swinging something aren't really a concern for kids. It's the overload, and our volume's really low.
This is just the beginning of how bat speed can reshape the game and how new layers like bat fitting and smarter data will push it even further. The science of speed is still unfolding, and it's only getting faster from here. This has been Athletic Intelligence from GameChanger. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, rate, and share it. I hope you'll join us next time as we uncover the tech that's shaping the game.